Hello everyone, good morning. Dumelang, ke bidwa ke Itumetse Mariri. I work for BONELA and today we are celebrating June 16, the Day of the African Child. And this year's theme, eliminating harmful practices affecting children. So re mo Gaborone mo main mall re batla go utlwa gore batswana mo Gaborone ba ne ba ikutlwa yang ka letsatsi lena and hear their views in terms of trying to protect the children's rights. Dumela mma, ke bidwa ke Itumetse Mariri go tswa go sinya BONELA, ke lona mang?
Dumela rra, ke nna Tshapandi Tholo go tswa go GS.
Good morning. My name is Obakeng Rodniki Tamore from Art by Rodniki Tamore right here in Main Mall.
Dumela rra, ke nna le Tsotamba.
My name is Kitimets Bolai. I'm a street entrepreneur.
Ke nna gape moalusi.
Re gape moalusi, tsatsi la gompieno le rang mo go wena?
Well, today is June 16, the African Child's Day.
Mo tsatsi la gompieno ke letsatsi le le rang mo go wena?
To me, this is the day of an African child, whereby we fought for our own freedom of health, education, and so many other things.
Today is June 16. June 16, the Day of an African Child.
Letsatsi la gompieno ke letsatsi le le botlhokwa mo go rena re le maAforika ka gore ke letsatsi la ngwana wa maAforika. Re itirela letsatsi la ngwana wa maAforika gompieno.
The 16th of June.
What does it mean to you?
It means a lot because it's the day of the African child.
Okay, today ke June 16. Go na le sekano sa June 16 kana gantsi ra re theme ya ngwagona wa itse. Ya bela ha o sa itse ha gore sepe. Do you know the theme of this year?
No, I don't know. Unfortunately not.
Okay, what does the Day of the African Child mean to you?
Okay, this is how I look at it. There is Mother's Day, there is Father's Day, and then there's a Day of an African Child. It's fair, right? So the Day of an African Child is the day whereby we celebrate just being a child here in Africa, right? I don't want to associate it with the time whereby they apartheid in South Africa, but what I want to associate it with is just being a child in Africa.
Ja ka re ipela le letsatsi la ngwana mo Afrika mo letsatsi la gompieno. Sekano sa ngwagona ke sone mang?
Ga ke itse sekano sa ngwagao.
Do you know the theme of this year?
Nope, not really. I don't.
Ha re ntse re tswelela. Go na le molao o sireletsang bana. Molao o wa o itse mo lehatsheng la Botswana?
Nya.
A o itse. Ehe.
Rra ke itse molao wa development yo sireletsang bana.
Go na le molao o so sireletsang banana mo lehatsheng la Botswana. Wa o itse molao o?
No.
There's a piece of legislation kana ra re molao o somarelang bana mo lehatsheng la Botswana. Molao o wa o itse?
No.
Every year we celebrate this day by having themes around the day. So this year's theme, do you know the theme?
Can you please share the theme with me this morning because I was in a rush and I couldn't check my calendar. Can you please do that for me?
The theme for this year is eliminating harmful practices affecting children.
Ooh, that's a nice theme. I was just talking to someone today about just the government and how it's trying to like take or just like a child. They can't protect themselves against me because I'm physically big. So the government is trying to bridge that gap, the laws that helps and protects the child.
Talking about laws, go na le molao mongwe o sireletsang bana ditshwanelo tsa bone mo lehatsheng la Botswana. Ko fe molao o?
Children's Act, children's right. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yes, that is definitely correct.
I'm not sure.
What can you say about harmful practices that affect children?
There are so many things affecting us, which is like child labor, denial of education, denial of health, abductions, and other forms of child abuse.
Rra go santse go na le dikgoreletsi tse e leng gore e ka re di santse di saletse ko morago mo baneng ya ka gompieno ana gona go santse gona le dikgang tsa go nyadisiwa bana ba le banyenyane ke dikgang tse le gore santse di seletse ko morago ebile e ka re go bonya mo go tsone.
First of all, there's a lot of things that harm children, like from physically to emotionally. So I think there's a lot of vulnerable defilement. I think we should really look into that more, because there's a lot of teenagers getting pregnant at an early age, and but almost even though Hababu say it's not the same. Even that life just shifts. You know what having a baby in a marriage household can shift your economical dynamics. And imagine only a single teenager child. Like, we should look into that. Yeah, really.
Corporal punishment should be number one. You know, corporal punishment, I think most people don't realize the kind of effect it has on children, because, you know, it affects them psychologically. It causes them to have this fear that even when they have done something wrong, like, they are so scared to communicate, because they know instead of them getting a lesson or a teaching from that, they actually get a beating, which is something that makes them be more afraid to express themselves.
If you are given an opportunity to meet with the president of Botswana to speak to protection of children's rights, what would you tell the president?
I would say there should be even more protection, because many children are missing. So I think there should be lawyers that can speak for children, so that the cases of missing children can reduce.
Oh, okay. No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd say afe bana the opportunity to prove their worth, and just give them the chances to show that we are responsible and we are able.
Me ha o itebagantse le ngwana thata ke ra children o ka reng bone mo ditshwanelong tsa bone?
I'd appreciate if the youth take responsibility and not disappoint ourselves and the country. Re santse gore re emele lehatshe re itse ka tlhagalo re kgone gore e nne rona batshegetsi ba lehatshe ke rona ba bokamoso ba Botswana.
Okay, ke a leboga rre.
Ke ne ke ka ra president wa Botswana ke mora ke re bana ke bone isago ya rona yaanong a ba go gagamadiwe melao ga go tloa ka ga ditshwanelong tsa bana. Melao ya ka e tshwana le yone ya development ke melao e leng gore ya tshwenya thata mo lehatsheng la rona re le Batswana. Bana ba dirisiwa, bana ba santse ba nyadisiwa ba le banyenyane, se leng gore se gatelela bana ba santse ngwana be re dumela gore a ba isi a nne le tlhaloganya gore o ka itseela ditshwetso. Yaanong go mo ke kgokgontsho mo go bone a be re gata ka ditshwanelo tsa bana.
Ke a leboga mme Tshepa.
I think, personally, I think the president should pay too much attention into the development of a child. You know, that there's a Setswana saying that says Loruli Oja Lesalimates. You know what I mean? Like, what you put in your child when they're still a child, it has the potential to shape them into a good, it determines the shape of that person when they're older. So I think it's important right now, even in schools, even at home, like a child be given a platform to express themselves. Because even right now, this gender-based issues, even the highest number of rape, literally from here. So that should tell you something. Like, we have a broken system that fails to shape our grown men, even women. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Like people don't grow. They don't have a platform to express themselves when they're younger. So that needs to be taught a lot. They need to be sensitization of giving a platform for children to express themselves.
Okay.
I think when it comes to children, there is no shortcuts. Because these are future leaders, these are future presidents. We should do everything. From the culprits. Because now we shouldn't be able to do that. The government should just take responsibility more emotional. No, it should be straightforward. No, you are going to jail. This is wrong. I'm so sorry if I'm singing Setswana. Yes.
Thank you so
Can I
much.
finish my song? June 16, ke tsatsi la ngwana wa Afrika, ke tsatsi la ngwana wa Afrika.
My name is Lesedi Ramika of Ramika Law Quarters, and we will like to commemorate the Day of the African Child, that is June 16, and we're partnering with BONELA in our human rights and public interest litigation wing. So today I'm going to talk to you about two things regarding the rights of the child. At first I will consider the cultural perspective and then the legal environment in Botswana. By cultural perspective, what I'm talking about is how culture and religion can affect the rights of the child. And when considering this issue, one has to look at the fact that our culture tends to have practices that are affecting children. One of these practices may be circumcisions, genital mutilations, these type of things. And the question then becomes how the law interacts with the culture and how we can have a balance between the two. So the first thing that you need to think about is the customary law. And you'll find that in our law, the Customary Law Act prohibits customary law insofar as it goes against the morality as well as the humanity and the natural justice of our society. So there's a limitation to the customary law that can be practiced. When you move on to the Children's Act, you'll find that the Children's Act as well has some provisions in there, particularly Section 62(1), which then limits any practices that can be harmful to the well-being of a child. And you look at Section 62(2), which also deals with the prohibition against mutilations and circumcisions and so forth, unless it's in the best interest of the child. You also have situations where betrothals for persons under the age are also prohibited. So we have a Children's Act which basically limits the extent of culture as well as religion. And then moving on to the legal environment in Botswana as to the protection of children's rights. And as an example, ke anka sekai ka se siragalang mo malapeng a rona o kgona go itlhela gore ha ile gore go na le sengwe se leng gore se ka tswa se dirilwe ngwana o kgona gore be go teng ya sa tsene ra go se mama mo mathateng. We have a tendency to be silent as part of culture go teng ya re batho ba re botho re didimale re itshoke go ta siama. But you'll find that the act actually prohibits that if you know of any offense that is being perpetrated against a child, ubu didimale. So actually that's an offense. And then other acts that are relating to the protection of the child will be the Affiliation Proceedings Act. The Penal Code as well can be utilized. The Domestic Violence Act is available, as well as the Public Health Act as amended in 2005. That is the regulations that were pronounced there. Those are some of the acts and not all of the acts that can be used to vindicate the rights of the child.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Dumelang Batswana. Ke bidiwa ke itumetse Mariri, and I work for BONELA in Gaborone and Greater Francistown. And today we are celebrating the African Child Day. The theme for this year is eliminating harmful practices affecting children. And particularly in this case, we are focusing mainly on progress made around policy and the law. And today we took to the street as BONELA to engage with the young people around this topic and ensuring what they understand about this day. And one of the striking issues around this was a gentleman quoted saying, "Bana ba basetsana ba sentse ba nyalwa," in other certain cultures in our country. And these are one of the things that when it comes to protection of children's rights, it raises eyebrows. And really, BONELA, we need to call government to account in ensuring that perpetrators are held accountable. And in recent times, we know that the country has made a key significant amendment around the penal code, which is section 147, which amended the age of consent for sexual activities from 16 to 18. And these are one of the things that really BONELA re batla go di bona, to see that we have actually progressed as a country. And when we were speaking to the lawyer, he touched based on the different instruments. One of them noted the Children's Act, which is really a critical fundamental framework which protects the rights of children. And we need to ensure that the issues that now, these are some of the concerns that as BONELA we need to call a these are some of the things and BONELA, our key role is to ensure that the human rights aspect of every individual lastly, I would like to say we thank all Batswana for giving us an opportunity to provide a space for them, which is talking about human rights, talking about children's rights. And some of these things we say to and to ensure that our children are safe and they are protected. So thank you very much from BONELA to the rest of the country.